Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's March the 4th, 2023, and this is the start of a new series. So, at the beginning of February 2023, the first Saturday, I asked you a question, and that question was, what thing in your area would you highly recommend to a tourist to see if they could only visit one thing, and why? And then I led it up to you to send me in postcards with your answers so we could get to know everybody out there. And I was curious to see how many people would play along. And so in February, I started this album to keep track of the postcards. And for the very first question, I have 7 cards that have arrived in time. I don't know, there may be other ones out there that will still come. But we're going to go through these 7. And then at the end, I'm going to ask you a new question for March. And you'll get an opportunity to do the same thing. You can write on your card, circle a number 2 for the question for March, and you write your response. The card can be about the question, or it could be just something else. So luckily, all the cards that I got this time around seem to be exact answer to the question too. So that's kind of nice. Some of the questions probably will be a lot harder to find a postcard for, but if you can do it, great. If you can't, don't worry about it, as long as we have an answer on the back. And give me an idea where you're from too when you're doing it. All right, make sure you're subscribed, like, and leave a comment. If you leave a comment at the end of this video, next week I'm gonna answer those questions. So you can leave a question, I will answer those questions on each Saturday up until the first Saturday of a month. And then the first Saturday of the month, we're gonna do this. So let's get to the first card. The first card I have is this one here, and it comes from Media in Finland, in Helsinki. And I said, what thing in your area would you highly recommend to a tourist to see if they could only visit one thing and why? She said, I would recommend Suomenlinna, Suomenlinna, the fortress island and UNESCO World Heritage Site, as a place to see in Helsinki. It's 15 minutes by ship from the center of town. So there you go. Isn't that a cool looking fortress? Now you can see a winter shot of it. And you can see the spelling of it there if I've butchered the pronunciation. So thank you, Media, for answering this question, letting us know that in Finland, if you're in Helsinki, you should go see the island fortress. All right, the next card I have is this one here. It comes from Robert in New Mexico. And this is the Carlsberg Caverns. He says, the one place that I would recommend to visiting my state in Carlsberg Caverns. I visited it once when I was 3 years old and then again last year. It's amazing. It has a unique experience that one has to see for themselves. So once again, Robert is in Carlsberg. And he's actually from Albuquerque, New Mexico, but he recommends going to Carlsberg Caverns. It's a national park in the United States. And there you go. It's in the southeastern part of New Mexico. Thank you, Robert. So if you ever happen to be in the United States, in New Mexico, check it out. All right, my next card comes from Lieve in Belgium, and she is in the town of Réti. And she says, this card shows the place to visit in Réti. In my opinion, the least. It's a watermill. It's a beautiful old building in a quiet and green landscape. The mill is in working order, but not into production. But the main reason to visit is that there is a tavern next to it, and we love to sit there on the terrace on a warm summer evening with a dark Belgian beer, listening to and overlooking the water. That sound relaxing? Go there and have a drink or have something to eat and listen to the water going through the water wheel at the mill. So if you're in Réti in Belgium, I want to show that stamp too. It's a really cool stamp. Thank you, Lieve. It sounds like a great place to go visit. The next card comes from Judy, and she is in Florida, close to Orlando. And on the back, this is the Tower Stars, National Historic Landmark. Adam and Eve are clearly visible in the window below the grills when the tower is illuminated from within at night. The opening of the grills allows the sound of the Carillion to fill the sanctuary. So you can see Adam and Eve. There we go. And also she put Disney World's only 73 kilometers, Legoland's 18 kilometers, Kennedy Space Center's 132 kilometers, Bok Tower Gardens, this postcard, is 34 kilometers. She says it was hard to choose one thing in particular to go see because she lives in Florida and there's many things to see. There are the stamps that she's put on there too. Lots of Lego stuff there for me. So thank you, Judy. Yeah, there's always tons of things to see in Florida, but this is one that I have not seen. So it's great to see something else. I've been to Legoland, I've been to Disney World. I haven't been to the Kennedy Space Center, but yeah, there's always things to see. And I'm sure any of you who have already sent in cards here too that I've talked about, there are other things to see in your communities, in your areas too, that are fantastic. I'm glad that you've picked one thing to specialize in. And maybe there'll be another question where you can talk about something else too. All right, let's move on to the next one. This next one comes from Eric in Toronto, otherwise known as my brother. He has sent this postcard of Niagara Falls. He says he chooses Niagara Falls as the one place in the area of the world that he lives to recommend people to visit. Although it is not one of the 7 wonders of the world, it's pretty spectacular. You can get there fairly easily from Toronto, either by car anytime or by GO train in the summers or on weekends. Lots of people don't realize that the Horseshoe Falls, as they are called, are on the Canadian side of the international border between Canada and the United States. If you go in the winter, the water vapor will freeze and it looks very pretty, but the summer when the falls are at their best, you can take a gondola ride over Niagara Falls Whirlpool. Plus, there are all kinds of activities for people to enjoy, from family things to casinos, for all who like to gamble. So there you go. If you're in the Toronto area, that's one thing to see. And once again, Toronto has a lot of fabulous things that you can go check out. One of Canada, well, it is Canada's largest city. Tons of stuff to see around. But I'm glad that, Eric, you've picked one thing in particular to showcase this time around. All right, my next card comes from Linda in Georgia in the United States. And she said, what is a good tourist place close by and why? I live in West Central Georgia, and close by, less than an hour's drive, is the Callaway Gardens. There's over 2,500 acres of gardens and resort. Also, there is the Cecil B. Day Butterfly Center. You walk in this tropical flower paradise, and there are hundreds of butterflies flying free. It's amazing. Linda. So thank you, Linda, for that. The Callaway Gardens is the place to see, I guess, of the butterfly world. And there's a butterfly stamp on the back. So looks cool. Even looks like a vintage card too. So that is one place I've never heard of. I've nenever been to Georgia before, so it is on my list. I'd like to go to Atlanta and see, well, I'd like to see the Braves play, but I'd also love to go to the Coke Museum and all sorts of things that are around in Atlanta. All right, the last card that I have comes from Lila, and she's in Baltimore, Maryland in the United States. This is the Shenandoah National Park. She says, my father was an astronomer. We loved to travel to dark skies to observe the night sky. For us, Big Meadows was one of the best places we could drive to. It is awesome to see the Milky Way with the naked eye. We love camping and campfires. They also have cabins if you don't camp. So I'm sure that would be fantastic for everyone who enjoys astronomy, for just taking in the world. So one place to see is the Shenandoah National Park. Fantastic. Now, I am super happy that after the first question, I got 7 responses. I think that's pretty good for people that are wanting to play along, wanting to learn about other areas, seeing spectacular things from their towns too. So let's keep this ball rolling. Hopefully we'll get more than 7 in the month of March come in. And if you've already sent a card and answered a question for February, you're more than welcome to keep playing, keep participating, keep telling and promoting things from your area. That's what I want this to be. I want this to be a fantastic way to learn about different areas of the world. I love learning about the history, the cultures, the food, And so that's why we're going to move into question number 2, the question for March. So what you're going to do, if you didn't catch it on already, your card is going to have, and let me use an example here. Here is the card that came from Robert in New Mexico. He's put a 1 here, so I know that that was for the first question. So going forward, March is going to be number 2. So put your number 2 there, rate your answer on the bottom, make it addressed to my P.O. box, which is in the description of this video. And question for March is, what is the most popular food from your area specifically, and where's the best place to eat it? So what I mean by that, if you live in Chicago and you say deep dish pizza is what we're famous for, you know, we know that pizza wasn't invented in Chicago, but if you go to Chicago, everyone says you got to have either a Chicago-style hot dog or you got to have a deep dish pizza. So if that's what you want to talk about and you want to have a postcard about that, you can do that too. If you don't have a postcard about that, maybe you get a postcard about Chicago. It doesn't matter. But in the description, you can say we're famous for deep dish pizza, and the best place that you should eat it is, I don't know, Gino's on 42nd Street. I don't know if such a place exists. I'm just using that as an example. Or for me, because you people, you guys always ask me the same question I ask you. So what is my area famous for? Here in New Brunswick, we're famous for lobster. And I know you can get lobster in the state of Maine. You can get it in Nova Scotia. You can get it in Prince Edward Island. But this particular area, we're in the Atlantic Ocean. This is where we get the most lobster that gets sent around the world. So if you're going to come to the Moncton area, I would suggest that lobster would be something you would try. And the Alma Lobster Shop is where I like to get my lobster from when I go down to Fundy National Park. You can get it in all sorts of different places. You can go to certain restaurants and have it cooked for you in a special way. But if I'm going to bring lobster home, I'm going to go to the Alma Lobster Shop and get my lobster. So that answers the question. That gives you an idea how you guys can answer the question too. So pick your favorite restaurant that you like to eat the food from, and tell me what that food is. And it doesn't have to be something specific to your country. If you're in Germany and you say, I live in a small town in Germany, and you know what? We make the best Apfelstrudel that you can eat. And we go to a little bakery called, I don't know, Guillermo's Bakery. That's what I want to hear. I want to know that if I go to your community, I better try whatever it is that you guys really love, because they make the best of it right there in that particular restaurant, that cafe. So have fun with it. Send me a postcard addressed to my P.O. box with the answer to that question, and circle number 2 on the top so we make sure that they come in and we can answer it according to the question. So I had fun with this. Did you guys have fun with this? Do you like this? Do you like how it's going to continue? We are going to continue it as long as I keep getting postcards and responses in for it. Maybe this will even grow into something bigger. Who knows? But I'm happy with the way this is starting. And thank you to everybody who's participating. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting. Leave your questions on this video and I'll answer them next week if you have any. And yeah, make sure you get the notification bell on so you know when any new videos are coming out. Thanks a lot. Answer the question, send your cards in, and we'll talk to you real soon. Have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?